Good afternoon, everybody. We here from the ISACA Kolkata Chapter bring you another exciting seminar that what auditors should watch out for in the domain of cybersecurity. We have a number of pertinent speakers with us, one being our very own Sandeep Sen Gupta sir, our secretary, and he will be talking a bit on his session before we move on to our second speaker. Now, it is a festive season, and we thank everybody for coming. And before we actually start off with the main session, I would like to say a couple of words about Sandeep sir. Despite everybody knows him, I'm sure. Sandeep sir is the secretary in the ISACA Kolkata chapter, and he's one of our leading experts too in the cybersecurity framework. He's a part of NASCOM as well as he runs the Indian School of Ethical Hacking. He's been in this domain for over 2 decades now, and I'm sure that whatever changes there are in the landscape, he is one of the best persons to explain to our audience. So, Sandeep sir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yes. So it's a festive season, and thank you for taking out your time, sir. And
Thank you very much.
before we begin with the session, I would like to ask you a little about what auditors should be worried about when it comes to the new cybersecurity hacks.
Yeah, Chirag, thanks for the nice introduction. Since people are present over here, just let me give a brief idea about why this session has happened. Uh, we wanted to have some celebrity speakers before the year ends. So, Mr. Sabyasachi Biswas has a huge experience. I requested him, and thankfully, he has agreed to come. Due to some prior assignments, he could not come at 3 o'clock. He will be joining from 4 o'clock. And he has 30 around years of experience working all over the world for IBM. And last time when I was speaking to him, he was in Australia. Now he is in Calcutta. So he is the chief digital officer and taking care of the digital transformation. Now, when we go for audit, uh, almost every company is going through a digital transformation, and a lot of new things are getting introduced into the infrastructure. So since we are there into the audit for last almost 25 years, we have seen that how the audit has changed over the years, from looking into very simple things to now things are getting very complicated, especially when the artificial intelligence, machine learning, these are the new concept. Cloud was there over the last 5 years, and now we even have threat intelligence. So I will try to add some value from over the last, I mean, coming 45 minutes to show you like how the audit scenario has changed. As you know, my background, I am also a or external auditor for British Standard, BSI, and have audited companies right from Steel Authority of India to Power Grid to ONGC, even private companies like Accenture, Genpact, even Airtel, Vodafone, ITC. So there are, I have audited a lot of companies, and I've seen there's a tremendous change in the uh, into the infrastructure of the companies. So since I am mostly into ISO 27001 audit, I will just give you some idea how the landscape of audit has changed. And when Mr. Biswas will come, he will talk as the latest digital transformation, because he is an expert in that subject, digital transformation. And as the auditor, we need to know about digital transformation. So best thing is to hear from somebody who has huge years of experience and uh, one of the global leaders in business transformation. So don't take this session as just a session to get 3 points for your CISA certificate. This is, we are very lucky to have somebody like this person, uh, who has worked all over the world and can give very good insight about the digital transformation for top level companies like IBM. And currently he is with Vikram Solar. So Vikram Solar is also a very reputed company, and he is actually doing some huge amount of digital transformation in this type of companies. So I thought, from the auditor's point of view, if we are not aware of what the other companies are doing from the digital transformation point of view, then we will be doing not doing good justice to the auditee who are bringing us over there. So coming to my part, allow me to share my screen. But before I share my screen, I request all of you that please subscribe to the ISACA channel, because what I can see, we have only 113 subscribers. Uh, at this moment, 15 people are watching it. So please subscribe our ISACA Kolkata chapter. And I have shared the ISACA Kolkata chapter page over here. Let me share my screen, and then I can take you. Okay, let me.
Yes, sir. As
I
you
believe
rightly mentioned,
I
it is a
believe my
great.
screen is visible, right, Shirak?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Okay. So this link I have shared in the chat window. Please go through this link. This is our new Calcutta ISACA Kolkata chapter website. As you can see, all the uh, seminars that we have conducted, we have an archive over here. So if you look into this, they are very valuable seminars. Last time we had Mr. Sanjay Kumar Das, who is the additional secretary now for IT Ministry. Also, we had like IPS Hari Kishore Kusumakar, who is now the in charge of the entire cyber security of Kolkata Police. So we had very good insights, and I believe this last AGM also, the people who could not attend, we have brilliant sessions from scientists, Professor Dr. Devashish Day and Professor Dr. Dhruvashish Sarkar, and also from Mr. Deepak Singh and our favorite Abdul Rafiq sir. L- Long time back, we had a very good seminar from Lieutenant Colonel Snehomoy Banerjee, who spoke about IoT security, which is very new. We are talking about IT security. We audit IT, but now since the industrial automation is going on, most of the companies will slowly move to IoT, and IoT are very vulnerable. So you will see like companies like Zomato, they will deliver through drones. uh, who knows, soon we will have a drone taxi. Maybe Ola and Uber will come up with a drone taxi. So these are like IoT devices, SCADA devices, and we will see smart home, smart city, and you will have to audit these companies. These are the upcoming technology. These are the future, the smart city, smart home. And when you go and audit these companies, you need to have very good knowledge of this SCADA, IoT, industrial automation. Otherwise, you will become redundant. Basically, you will not be able to audit. So we had a very good session from Lieutenant Colonel Snehomoy Banerjee. I'm trying to get another person next Saturday to talk about the latest IoT SCADA industrial automation. One of the best person in Calcutta. I've requested him. If I get his time, then I will try to get him talk for 3 hours on this OT security. OT is the future, and you need to be aware of it. Now, why I'm showing you this? If you come to the footer, you will see all the social media pages. Please like these pages. We have a Facebook page, we have the LinkedIn page, we have the Twitter, we have the YouTube, and we have the Instagram. All these are very, very active pages. So I suggest that please click on these like links. You can go through the Facebook page. You can click on the YouTube. You can go to the, so if you click on YouTube, we will see the in Kolkata chapter. And good that we have 118 subscribers. We had 113, so thanks. Five of you have subscribed right now. So you will see that if you go to the live section, you will see that these are the live sessions which we had over the last few months. We have been recording all the sessions. Every technical session, we had a session on DPDP, new data privacy bill, and all these are hardcore technical sessions from the industry experts. So please subscribe this, and you can at your free time you can go and check this entire video to find out how to learn some new topic. So this is my request: you go and subscribe to all these channels. Yes, Chirag, you wanted to add something.
Yes, sir. I was only mentioning and supporting your view that people don't realize the efforts taken by the chapter, and once they actually subscribe it and they know these programs are there, then a lot of the questions that we receive by direct messaging or email, it will automatically get solved. Like, for example, a lot of people have been asking me regarding some sessions on OT security or some seminar that that we have previously hosted, and whether they can get access to the same or not. But they did not know that we have all of this readily available. So that is why informing them over a session, live session right now, is a big thing. So that, so for the future, they know all the efforts and all the chapter programs well in advance, apart from the emails that are communicated with them.
Right.
No,
In fact, I believe the OT, we had a brilliant seminar on OT security, which practically we lost. I don't know whether we have a recording of that. Uh, but last time, Mr. Banerjee took the session on digital forensics. So even the
right,
digital
right.
forensics, which was conducted by ISOH, is also lost. We have lost many sessions, but nowadays all the sessions are getting auto recorded in our website of ISACA Kolkata chapter. One more thing I would like to bring to your notice: we have monthly newsletters, or I believe quarterly
So it is
newsletters.
quarterly.
Quarterly. I'm sorry, it's a quarterly newsletter. So all these newsletters can be downloaded from the this newsletter section from the ISACA Kolkata chapter. So if you can click on this newsletter, you will see that it's getting downloaded over here. And again, this is a treasure of information. All the subject matter experts have contributed over here. And see, this is a huge newsletter. You can just click on this, and this entire PPT file has been uploaded over there. So this is like a 43-page newsletter, and even you can use it for your sessions. When you go, like you say, on cryptography, blockchain, and these are in-depth technical newsletters. So please use this website for knowledge gathering. This is since last year when I took up responsibility, I made sure not a single technical session will be lost. So yeah, please take care of it. Okay. So coming back to my topic, today we were discussing about like how to audit about the new age technology, and uh, what we should check, what should be our approach. So I would like to take you to this ISO 27001 2022 version. This standard is a very good standard for information security audit. You can follow this standard. I believe all of you have a copy of 27001 2022. Uh, if you look into this, they have introduced some new controls. So the ones which are colored, these are the new controls. and they have mostly divided into like four domains: organizational control, people control, physical security control, and technological control. In the organization control, they have used threat intelligence. Now this is something very interesting. When we go to companies, uh, see, as the auditor, you are auditing only the IT infrastructure, the computers, the softwares. But have you ever thought that the top management can also be a target? The company as a whole can also be a target. I'll give you an example. I have given a live demo. Since this is a webinar, I cannot give you a live demo, but I have shown this live demo in many of the seminars. If you look into this, see, I have told the top management most of the time when I look into the top management mobile, maybe in iPhone or a high end Android mobile, most of the time I have seen that these devices are compromised. And if the top management is compromised, their handset is compromised, basically the entire company is in big trouble. This is an example of juice jacking. uh, Let me open this in a new tab. So you must have seen this at the airport. This is a normal jack, a socket where you put your jack, and there can be a uh, where if you go to a mobile store or you go to the airport, you will see there are places where already the wire is fixed on the other end, and you just need to put the wire in the other side of the wire in your handset, and your handset will get charged. These type of wires which are fixed at the other end, fixed to the wall, these are sometimes used as a juice jacking. This the moment I have a live demo, maybe next time when uh, take a physical like offline session, I can show you. I have a wire like this. You just put the wire in your charging point or in your handset. Your handset will automatically pop up the ISACA website or my company website without you having to allow or any action from your side. The moment you put the wire in your handset, it will open my company website, and from my company website, malware can get downloaded into your particular mobile. It will not ask you for anything like any allow, deny, nothing will be asked. So when we are going as the auditor and auditing a company, are we only auditing the computers? Are we only auditing the website over there or their accounts? I believe when you are coming from an information security audit, end to end, every risk of the company has to be taken care of. So the top management, they need to be we need to understand that at the top management level, because these people have the maximum exemptions, they do not follow the policy, they can go to any website, there is no restriction, they most likely have not attended any awareness training. I'm talking about the leadership, and these people have the maximum amount of information in their handset or in their high end gadgets. So do we have a do we have these gadgets or these people within our scope of audit? If these people think that they are outside the scope and their machines, their gadgets are outside the scope, then practically we can audit the entire company and still the company can go down the drain. So we need to be aware, like, how these people can get affected, what are the ways these people will get compromised, their devices will get compromised. And nowadays it is very easy to find these people on the LinkedIn, and then they will go to the Facebook page or Instagram page, and then we start stalking them, we start sending them uh, different types of WhatsApp messages. In fact, WhatsApp messages also we can send fake WhatsApp messages, and then we can practically get hold of their devices. Now see, if I go back to this, sorry, not this one, if I go back to this controls, this ISO 2700 1 2022 version, they have added lot of new controls which ideally take care of lot of things which we were not doing maybe 2 years or 3 years back. So one part is this threat intelligence. Now this is control number 5.7. So let me just go back to 5.7 and find out what is there. Okay, so threat intelligence, this is a control, and since I'm opening this 27002 this has given an elaborate explanation of the controls, that what exactly the company should do to implement the control. Now, the guidance is information about existing or emerging threats. Please mark this word, emerging threats. Threat might not be currently there, but this can be a problem in the coming days. Most of you, when you go for audit, you do a annual audit or a once a year audit. So by the time you come out, that already some threat which is not there but upcoming, and they are not aware of it, that can be a huge problem for the company. They should be ready for it. So facilitating informed action to prevent the threats from causing harm, reduce the impact. Now how do they do it? Threat intelligence can be divided into three layers which should be considered. One is the strategic threat intelligence, exchange of high level information about the changing threat landscape, like what type of attacks are happening. When we go for the audit, I most of the time I have seen that the auditees, they are taking the feeds from different types of embassies. They are taking the feeds of, for India maybe the 13, they are taking the feed. They are taking the feeds from NCIPC. uh, but the best of the best feeds I've seen that it can be taken from the US embassy, which gives a very accurate information of the upcoming or emerging threats on a day-to-day basis. So if the company is not monitoring these feeds, then there can be some business disruptions for those type of companies. And when we go as the auditor, ideally we should be checking whether this company has implemented this control as part of their information security uh, risk mitigation. One is the tactical threat intelligence, information about attacker methodologies, tools, technologies. So down the line, I mean, previously it was people were talking about ransomware. Now see, very common one threat which has come up is deepfake. We were talking a lot about deepfake. How do I mean, how does deepfake affects the corporate world? I don't know. It is possible to take up questions in the webinar. Maybe it's very difficult. But suppose if I create a deepfake video of the MD of the company, or maybe the HR of the company, and I put it on online, and there is something which is a political statement or something bad about the company, that I'm selling my shares or I'm going for a layoff, this will create a huge impact on the company. People will start leaving, or people can get very demotivated. So in the coming days, we actually see that this type of things has to be audited, like what type of information is floating about the company on the internet. If as the information security auditor we are not aware of this, if the auditee is not aware, it's not our responsibility to aware of it. We have to only audit whether they are taking care of it, whether they have a mechanism for to detect the online reputation. Especially nowadays, most of the companies I have seen, they're buying dark web, deep web monitoring services. In fact, there are some companies in Kolkata who are also starting this. In fact, we at Indian School of Ethical Hacking also have started deep web monitoring. But this was not there 2 years back. It was not that popular. But nowadays, I have seen that most of the big companies are going for dark web, deep web monitoring to see what type of information is floating about them or their confidential information in the surface web and also in the deep web. If they are not aware of that, then even if there is not a direct compromise in their infrastructure, you might not see anything in their log. No machine compromise, no website compromise, but the entire company will be very badly affected if something is floating at the back end about something negative about the company in the either surface web or deep web. So you have to think about that latest AI ML deepfake, how this can impact the business of the company, how it can be a disruption for the company, because this is also information security. It's not just laptop, desktops, or servers or firewalls. And operational threat intelligence, details about specific attack, individual technical indicators. So if we think of these three, the strategic threat, tactical threat, and operational threat, as the auditor, this has become very, very important for us. You can research on this and you can practically put a red flag if the company is not following this. Now, ISO 27001 has put it as a separate control. The company has to do it. Anybody who is ISO certified, they have to show us that they are doing something on it. Otherwise, we will put as a minor NC if the process is completely absent. And if we think that they are not doing something sufficient, we can put it as an opportunity for improvement. Now, if we look into the detail, threat intelligence should be relevant, insightful, providing the accurate, detailed understanding of the landscape, contextual, of course, relevant to the company, actionable. The organization can act quickly and effectively. Now, threat intelligence activity should include establishing objective for the threat intelligence production. Now, I advise that when you go as the auditor, there has to be some awareness session even for the leadership. I have seen this myself that most of the awareness training is for the mid-level managers, for the executives, but the top management usually doesn't come for the this ISMS or information security awareness sessions, because most of these sessions are very boring about like don't save your password, don't share the OTP, uh, different case studies. But that doesn't interest the top management. They are looking at the strategic level. So if you tell them, if you have a session which is solely for the top management, and it's not should not be including the managers, because whatever you tell the top management, managers will not understand anything much out of it, and it's not relevant for them. So if we have a session on top management, this threat intelligence part is something which should get a considerable focus. Otherwise, top management, if they do not understand that this is now a new requirement of the information security control, they will not invest on it. And going for a deep web monitoring is very costly, is very expensive. Deep web monitoring or dark web monitoring is very expensive. So if the top management is not convinced, you will never be able to introduce this type of controls in your ISMS. And when you go as the auditor, you will also get very frustrated because you will see that this control is completely missing. Okay, coming to the other controls, there's a dedicated. Now people ask me that what are the new controls? Information security for use of cloud service. I don't know how many of you are cloud expert, how many of you have good knowledge of cloud, because this is something If you are a CISSP, if you are a technical person, maybe you have worked with the cloud, then maybe you will have some idea. But a normal chartered accountant, I don't know how much knowledge you have cloud, but nowadays everything is on the cloud. If you talk about any like right from your footage, you see backup to your services. Even if you are going to a product company, you will see that the product is completely hosted on the cloud, and they are selling it as a service, as a software as service. So most of the companies, be it product or service, they are taking it to the cloud. Why on cloud? Because there's a better business continuity. If you put it on premises, the cost is higher for your keeping the office open 24 into 7. It's very difficult to people for people to work from home and connect to the on premises devices. But the moment you put it on cloud, it is accessible from anywhere. It is accessible. It is not almost zero downtime. And it depends whether the company is managing the security or configuration, or whether the hosting service provider is managing the configuration. But now the moment you put something on cloud, there are a lot of controls which are very relevant, like coming to 5.23. Now if I go to 5.23, this document is a very handy document. If you I believe if you search on Google, you will get a copy of this. Just a minute. Okay, let me do a 5.23. Right. So information security for use of cloud services. So again there is a huge guideline on that. Uh, the cloud service selection criteria for scope. Where is the cloud service? If you are working in a defense project, you cannot choose a cloud service provider which is outside India. If you are working with something like your Indian Aadhaar card or passport or something like that, then the first question, or the citizen data, KYC, a telecom vendor, then the first question that comes to the mind is like, where is the cloud service? Where they have put the data? Is it something back, even a backup is going outside India or not? Because that can be a non-compliance. Second thing is the role responsibilities related to the usage and management of cloud service. Who has the access to the cloud service? Do you have the people who are working from home, people who are working from office, people who are working from maybe traveling destination at the client? There are some people who will be working from outside India. So who has access, and what type of access these people have been given? Which controls are managed by cloud service provider and which managed by the organization as the cloud service customer? How to obtain and utilize the security capabilities provided by the provider? How to obtain assurance on information security controls? Very important in the vendor contract. That is something we need to like read very carefully, that what is there in the vendor contract. In the vendor contract, what liability is passed on to the cloud service provider and what is the liability of the customer, especially the data protection and the privacy part. If there is any PII involved, there are two standards which are very direct for PII on cloud, that is 27017 and 27018. You can have a look into these two standards. They have a very nice guideline on how to handle the PII on the cloud. So this part cloud, you need to have some idea. I can show you another one, another document. I don't know how many of you follow this document. Let me show you. Okay, it's a little bit slow. Actually, I'm doing a lot of things. I am the admin for this session, so a lot of videos are running in the background. But just a little bit slow, but let me show you something. This is very uh, handy site. I think I will shift to this one. This is much faster. So I've gone to Google. I have searching for CIS benchmark. This is another site which is a very nice site. You can get a lot of technical information. Even if you do not, if you are not very technically sound, the CIS benchmark. This is a site. Maybe Chirag, you can just copy paste this link on the chat window because I can't see it from here. I can see the chat window from here, but the CIS benchmark is a nice one. You will get a lot of information from here. So if you go into cloud, you will see that there are different cloud services, Amazon Web Service, cloud. You can go for desktop software. Now, what do they do? If you look into a CIS benchmark, they give you line by line, step by step guideline how to audit that particular device or that particular service. Suppose you go to network device and look for checkpoint. You can download the checkpoint document, the CIS benchmark for checkpoint. If you look into the CIS benchmark for checkpoint, you will see there is a step by step guideline and how to audit a checkpoint firewall. And it is so easy. They have given so in a layman language that anybody who has never worked with checkpoint firewall can audit the checkpoint firewall. They have given like, go to this particular setting, check whether this setting is on and off. If it is off, then this is the impact, and if it is off, this is what the company needs to do. So what you need to find, where you need to find, what is the ideal correct setting over there, and if it is not correct, what the company has to do to for the correction and the corrective action. Everything is given in this CIS benchmark. And CIS benchmark is for software like Apache, Docker, IBM, Kubernetes, see Microsoft IS, SharePoint, MongoDB, Oracle database, PostgreSQL, VMware. It can go for operating system like CentOS, Debian. In fact, even Microsoft. Sometimes when you go for the OT security, you have to do some OS level auditing. Whether PowerShell can be accessed, what type of command can be thrown using the PowerShell. So even if you are not a technically sound person, you can go to these download. These are all free of cost. You don't have to pay anybody. There are around 40-50 files over here covering 40-50 different types of device, operating system, software. Just download and go through it, and you can practically audit the cloud, operating system, everything. Even the newest technologies you can audit using this CIS benchmark list. And all these you get free of cost. You just have to just register and you will get access to. I have downloaded all the files, though this is a new laptop, otherwise I would have shown you from here. Okay, coming to the next one is the ICT readiness for business continuity. This is again something which, as an auditor, you need to check. The RTO, RPO, the recovery time objective and the recovery point objective. So most of the time, I have seen that uh, companies haven't decided the RTO for the core subject. Suppose you are a chartered accountant firm. Suddenly, there is a disruption. Maybe it's a fire in the office, or maybe some server has gone down, or maybe some pandemic and people have gone sick. So what is the recovery time? How many people you need to recover within maybe 1 day, 5 days? And what is the minimum recovery? What is the, who are the priority clients? Which are the important process? This planning is not done by the companies. They might have done only for the DC and DEAR, the RTO, RPO, but these are only for the data backup and the server and network devices. But I have not seen for people, I have not seen for non-IT infrastructure. But these are very, very important. For big companies, yes, they are doing, but small, mid-level companies, MSME companies, they practically have no clue how to do this. So this is where we auditors need to add some value. We can bring it to them. We cannot suggest, we cannot show them how to do it, but yes, we can put a red flag that this is not done. Or if you are an internal auditor, then maybe you can give a thorough recommendation how it can be done after giving a non-conformity. Coming to the people control, there is no change. Physical security, the monitoring is now added. I believe this part is pretty easy, like the BMS room, the CCTV monitoring. Especially, there is one factor which I would like to bring to your attention in the biometric access, the biometric devices. I have seen companies who are scrapping these biometric devices without cleaning them properly. Now, this can be a problem for the organization, because as per the DPDP, the data protection and privacy, the these access control devices, especially the one which are biometric, they have sensitive PII, they have thumb impression, they have many details, facial recognition of people, so maybe the retina scanner. So if a company is using this type of devices and the devices are not working, they cannot just scrap it. They have to make sure that they erase it or they destroy the data before they can the discard these devices. This is something which I have seen in my audit. One more thing I have seen in my audit is like the face recognition. It can be very easily bypassed. Just take a photo of one of their people using an iPhone and take that photo or video in front of that face recognition access control devices. It will immediately open the door. So that also have a solution. There is something in the setting called sensitivity. If the sensitivity is increased, then this will not be possible. So as an auditor, we also have to check that, think out of the box, that how these devices can be easily fooled. uh, Companies are buying that these devices, but practically they do not know how to make use of it. Okay, coming to the technological control, now this is a direct requirement: configuration management. Configuration management, I have already shown you the CIS benchmark. The entire CIS benchmark is a configuration management. So this is something now you have to study. If you study this CIS benchmark, it will add a lot of value for you guys, because you cannot go and audit at the very superficial level and say that the company is doing without. Hackers are getting very, very sophisticated, very sophisticated. So if you are not going into the CIS model, it was if you are not auditing at that depth, then you are not doing justice to the audit. Now this 8.10, 8.11, 8.12, these are the new controls for this data protection and privacy, information deletion, data masking, data leakage prevention. Recently, I went to a company who are actually taking Aadhaar card data from the customers. They have some compliance, so they were collecting, and they are allowed to do it. Now, the entire software has been made like 5 6 years back, and these guys are not masking the Aadhaar card. So the entire Aadhaar card details are shown, displayed to each and every person within that organization. You will face this in the telecom, in the insurance, in the hospital, in the hotel industry. Because hotel, hospital, they will take some government ID proof, and if they are taking the Aadhaar card, and if they have a system where they are putting it, that has to be masked. Most of these softwares has been made long time back, and they have nothing on data masking or like the principles of data protection and privacy. So please have a look into it, that how these people are doing it. Information deletion, though it has put into the technological control, Information deletion can even happen in the non-IT controls. I went to one company, like each and every company have a visitor register where they take our phone numbers, our signature. Sometimes they even note down our government ID proof just to find out that whether we are the right person, or they can track us back. Maybe if there is an incident later, these type of hard copies has to be destroyed after certain time. I don't know what time that let the company decide, but if it is not the law of the land, then company has to have a policy that when they will delete this data, and if they are not doing it, then you have to put a NC over there. Data leakage prevention is a dangerous part. I mean, most 90% of the MSME companies has no clue about data leakage prevention. I have not seen DLP installed in most of the companies. So this is something again you have to look into what type of DLP these companies are using. If they have no DLP, then maybe you can put a red flag over there. That how do you ensure that data can be protected? Just give me 1 minute. Monitoring activities, again a new control. Wave filtering has a new control. Secure coding is a new control. uh, all these are new controls which were not there. uh, Secure coding might be something which people were uh, using, but now they have made a mandate that you have to do it. So I believe this is okay. Maybe I will just mm, okay, stop the. Yeah, I think the celebrity speaker is there, so I need to stop. Sabida, you have to check your microphone. I
Hello, good
have put you
evening.
on stage. You are live now. Chirag, can you please introduce Shobhasati?
Right, Sabyasachi sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Hi.
Right, thank you for joining. And dear all, we have Sabyasachi Biswas joining us. He has been kind enough to give his valuable time on this festive weekend. And a personal thank you from my end as well, sir. So, Sabyasachi, those of you who don't know, sir, Sabyasachi Biswas is the Chief Digital Officer of the Vikram Group, Vikram Solar, prior to which he was the global automation leader in IBM. His career, which spans more than 3 decades, ranges from a successful market maker across USA, Europe, China, Australia, India, to being a global practice leader who incubated and scaled leading edge capabilities in enterprise applications and emerging technologies of data, AI, and operation. So I'm sure that this brief bio is not giving you justice, and our listeners are more interested in what you are going to be telling them about today's session. So I request you to kindly share your words on regarding what our the auditors should be focusing on in today's landscape, how it is gradually changing. Sandeep sir has done a really good job of giving everybody a flair in the past 40 minutes. And now, sir, the floor is all yours. And once again, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, Chirag, for the opportunity and for the introduction. No whether Sandeep is still around. I'm not really a celebrity speaker. I mean, I know Sandeep for more than a decade now. Anything related to cybersecurity threat and safeguarding oneself and one's applications and one's technical landscape from there, my first go-to person is Sandeep. Having said so, being in the industry for nearly 3 decades, I have seen how technology has evolved and how technology has become all encompassing in the business and personal lives of human beings. Uh, when I started in 90s in this industry, we used to have something called a client server network. So it was within a room or within a hall where you had one computer, which was the server, and then there were multiple desktops, which you could not move from your table, which you could actually access, which you could use to access the server, which was there in one corner of the room in an enclosed space. So, like anything which is within four walls, it it had both the positive and the negative side of it. The negative was, it was restricted within that, right? So what's going on outside the world, one had to watch in a TV, which even wasn't, the content wasn't so rich those days, right? Or read in a newspaper, or something which has not happened or just could miss out. So access to information or sharing on information wasn't, it was in no, was no comparison to what it is today. There was only one device to access uh, technology, information technology. It used to be called software those days, more popularly, was the desktop, the computer which was there in one's desktop one could handle. So yeah, like a frog in the well, right? So people who are there in the users were, on one hand, I would say cloistered in a very claustrophobic situation, where you are within those few users, one server within the four walls of the room. Uh, I would say the risks of getting attacked, through the security vulnerability was also much less. Obviously, cybersecurity was there, internet was definitely there, but I don't know whether any of you remember, that was an internet where one could not, people like you and me, could not put any content. It was a read only internet, right? So we could not put anything. The best we could is send a mail to somebody. That's about it, right? So naturally, when people like you and me, do not have access to go in there and send something, uh, or let's say, not so good people like you and me, when they did not have access, so the malicious activities were also not there either. Was that a question which is typed there? Okay, if that is the case, I'll come to it later. I'll definitely come to it, digital transformation. Now, I have seen that evolving, right? I have seen that evolving where, firstly, nearly like little less than 20 years back, right, in the early 2000s, something called Web 2.0 came, right? Web 2.0 meant that the architecture of the web became one of participation, where it moved beyond just ability to read, to put contents in there, right? So you and me could actually go in and put content in there. Where that was the time when the Wikipedias of the world were taking off, right? So you and me could actually put content in there. And when people like you and me can put content in there, anyone else can. And not everyone has had the right kind of intent, right? So what content they put in there in the web. Excuse me. The next thing which came is the devices, right? One of the earliest of the device, and the telecom and the content came together. They converged, was in the mailing system. If you'll remember, there used to be a fantastic handset called BlackBerry, or even before that, there was a Palm Top, right? There was a fantastic mailing system called BlackBerry, right? Where one, at that point in time, whether you have a desktop or or a laptop or a device, they all converged. At least in the mailing system, calendaring system, they all merged. That was the second thing, right? So the first was, as I said, when one room that Then came the Web 2.0 architecture, one could put the contents in there. The third came in the form of devices, and the devices again, I would say, evolved itself, where it went beyond mailing and calendaring, and that's where it was started by iPhone, and then Samsung, and then Google came into the picture, right? They created the operating system, and the apps came in, and the APIs came in. So it's an incredible thing which happened, right? So the usage of device, so every individual, at that was like what, late 2000, right? So 2007 was the when the first iPhone came. After that, of course, Samsung came, Android came up with the Google came up with their Android. One could actually download apps from the App Store, use the apps, right? So when actually the devices converged, right, because one could actually use the internet and everything related to that, using something on truly in the palm top. It so happened that every individual now can access the net web, can put content in there, and wherever there is a Wi-Fi, one had to look for Wi-Fi, if you'll remember, right? Protected Wi-Fi. It used to say that secure network, unsecure network, right? So that was that's how the device proliferation happened, and hence what happened was a huge amount of content explosion happened, right? So one could access and huge amount of content explosion happened. People could put content in there, access content in there, and so happened. And then later on came the communication revolution, right? The 4Gs and now 5Gs there, when truly, and affordability also came in. So if you really look at it, I don't have the data with me, but I would assume that a significant part of the world population has devices now. And one need not have to look for a place which has secure or unsecure network, right? You are on, everybody is on network at any point in time, right? So imagine, from a small room to the big 8 billion population of the world, can connect with each other, can throw in as much content as possible, and bring in as much content which is available into their own devices. So what has happened, the great thing which has happened, is the connectivity, the phenomenal thing which has happened, right? The connectivity, the knowledge, the information. People may be anywhere across the world, especially the younger people, and they would be equally informed about what's going on at any point in time, right? Few other things happened and happening. One of the things which has happened, and this is something which one felt scared a few years back, has now accepted the way it is the way AI is behaving, right? The way AI was maturing, artificial intelligence was maturing. So if you discuss anything or search anything over Google for a period of time, you will see in a series, Google will keep on giving you suggestions even if you don't ask. So what does that mean? That means that the machine which is happening in the back end is actually learning, is actually hearing, seeing, listening to what you're saying, and learning. Obviously, when that happens, there is a lot of scare that, am I being looked, am I being observed? Yes, you are being observed. Obviously, uh, like any good organization, observation need not be necessarily bad. It's like having a closed circuit TV, keeping an eye that you are secure, that kind of a thing. uh, if that kind of ability to observe falls in the hands of unethical users, right, then the problem starts, right? That's where the problem starts, right? So as the ability to use the web, ability to own a device, ability to connect, and the ability to generate and pull content just went through the roof. What has happened is it has made myself, my business, my data vulnerable, correct? So that is what in one terms is called and we have to protect ourselves, our business, our privacy, right? My data will have to protect, especially my sensitive data, and that is the entire thing in one umbrella would be called cybersecurity. Correct. So it starts from the device, goes through the network, your local network, it goes to the wider network through the web. And for in terms of if you're in manufacturing, if one is in manufacturing business, even the other machineries which are being connected, each point at the end point and through the network and through at the device, it has to remain protected. How will we protect? I'll come to the details of that. I'll come to the digital transformation, how that's being, how why digital transformation is necessary, what companies are doing to digitally transform themselves, and while they are doing what they are doing, what they are doing to ensure that in my process of evolving myself, in my process of, excuse me, evolving my business, I don't make myself, my business vulnerable. So I talked about cybersecurity, right? I talked about the end-to-end point. I talked about, right through the chain, how the vulnerability can be there, and why it is needed to ensure that, and how it is needed to ensure that I'm not vulnerable to thing. The whole end overall encompassing phenomena is called cybersecurity. How do I protect myself? I ensure that there is a robustness in the solution. So, in a very layman's term, it's a very known term. It's called hacking, right? Where the bad people, the bad, sharp, I would say knowledgeable users, what they do is they hack through, they crack the code, right? They crack the code in the device, they crack the code of the secure, entry into it, they crack the code, the program which is running in the behind, and put things in there, put virus, put agents in there, which can take your content, which can steal your data, which can actually have malefic purposes and corrupt it as well. So to protect that, think of the I would say analogy of how it is done in automotive industry. One in automotive industry testing, what do they do? They actually crash test a car, right? They ensure that there is enough protection that in the worst case scenario, the human being who is sitting inside is not affected. So people, the anti-hacking, the cyber security experts, what they do is they go through this entire chain from device through network, through web, to the remote device and across. They ensure that there is a crash test which is done. They simulate that test and ensure that in the worst case scenario, you are not impacted, your data is not stolen, your the wall or the moat which you have built around is secure. That's what the I would say the cyber security experts, what they do. They not only ensure that there is a, I would call it a moat rather than a wall. If you'll remember the forts, if you have visited forts, they not only have wall, they have a moat around that, a canal around that, and a gate to pull up and out, up and down to ensure that the enemies don't come in. While they ensure that the moat is secure, they also kind of do a crash test that in the worst case scenario, the worst of the attackers cannot come in and attack even one part of the entire connectivity device through the where the data is there. Another thing which has happened before coming into digital transformation, another thing which has happened, as you know, that as the data expanded, the data moved to something called a cloud, right? I mean, there was a time one used to take a lot of pride in saying that I've got so much gigabytes of capacity in my laptop or my desktop. But we realized that even 10 gigabyte capacity is not enough, right? It's nothing in today's world. So people started buying a private drives, right? A drive went to terabyte, right? One could actually buy a terabyte drive. 1000 gigabyte drive from the market. Even that was not enough. You want to put your photos there, you want to put your videos there, you want to keep your, if one switches between one job to another, want to keep their intellectual property there. What they started doing is started buying, becoming a tenant in a huge building, right? Where the building is, you don't know. I don't know, right? But we know that there is something called a cloud, which is essentially massive data centers, massive amount of arrays of servers which are there somewhere, right? The good part of it is, and then the good part of it is today it has come down to three big companies who give large clouds, right? Large cloud spaces: Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. There were others who tried there, right? So they have their own private cloud and all, right? So there are many new software which has come who have their own private cloud, all renowned companies, the likes of SAP and Salesforce and all. But primarily, if a business wants to move their data into a cloud, they will look for these three companies who are also called hyperscalers, right? Microsoft, their cloud is called Azure. Amazon, of course, has got Amazon Web Services. And of course, Google, who has got Google Cloud Platform. Why are corporations moving to the cloud? Question. One, obviously, the data is exploding, right? How many servers can you buy? How many servers can a company buy, right? Imagine the data is getting generated in every second in a machinery in a manufacturing company, every transaction in a bank, right? Because every transaction in every company today is digital, right? No one writes anything in a bank here, or retail or anything today, right? So where do the data go? Because it's exploding. You would rather take a space, buy space, and it's so flexible, right? You just pay by, what you use, almost like electricity utilities. So people have moved there. Second advantage is they are intrinsically secure. If companies like you and me will have to buy servers, I have to build a firewall for each of them, right? I expand to another state. From West Bengal, I move to Rajasthan. I buy three servers there. I have to build a firewall around that. These kind of companies have come with their own technology in their own area, right? Where they make sure that every data in this cloud is secure, and a very advanced technology, ability to predict, ability to see if there is any vulnerability, have sort of a command center where they can see every point, every node, if there is a vulnerability which has happened, and act automatically. They have their fail safe thing as well. If a server actually is down, they can they can find it out, right? So have you ever seen LinkedIn going down or a Facebook going down in the last how many years? I don't know, probably once it happened, right? And imagine the amount of data these kind of social media, you know with few thousand employees, by the way, they maintain that, right? So there has to be an advanced technology which takes care of that. So you know, as I would say that, as a auditor, uh, one thing, a few things which someone like me who has come through the ranks of CIO and then now and a consultant and a CIO now through a chief digital officer, I am always careful about the following. One, that there is no breach in my overall landscape, so that no virus can come in and corrupt it. The second, I need to make sure that there is no breach, that no amount of confidential data is stolen, whether for me or for my partners like customers or vendors. I have to make sure that there is no data privacy breach. I have to make sure that my partners, whether it's my vendor or my customer, actually is compliant about the sensitive personal information, right? And I have to make sure that while I'm doing so, I have engaged cybersecurity experts who can, at any point in time on a regular interval, does the kind of stress testing or penetration testing which I just a little while ago I talked about crash testing, just in case it happens. Even after all of these, there is always a possibility of something happening. So in such kind of situations, what do I do? Do I take a backup, right? Do I have a automated remedy which can take care of that, kill that virus? So I engage cybersecurity experts. So what are the 4 5 things I'm careful about? I want to be careful that my data doesn't get corrupt, right? The virus part of it. My data is not stolen, right? There is no privacy breach, right? I'm compliant. And that comes a lot through the discipline as well, training and certification of the company and its employees and its partners are. And I want to make sure that even after all of these, if anything happens, I do have a fallback, right? So I have a critical system assessment done for the impact of all of these. So while this is this is something which keeps me or my CIA, so Chief Information Security Officer, up at night. I also expect that the auditors uh, are able to look through the processes and make sure that there is compliance in there, right? I would say that if the auditors have the ability to go through the processes and identify if there are any existing anomalies, identify if there are any vulnerabilities, ability to predict failure, and some of these things, it comes with the expertise, right? I would say few things comes by a cybersecurity person, few things come through a process compliance like ISO, and finally, again, the experts come in and suggest remedies just in case if there is a breach. In spite of all of these, there is a breach. Okay. So I'll repeat once again before I come to the digital transformation piece. Uh, what keeps me up at night, me and my chief information security officer? It keeps me up at night that my my system is not infected by virus right through it. The virus can come in through at any point, right? It can come through the device, it can come through the network, it can come from the data, it can come from any point through the entire landscape. It is not able to come and corrupt my data. My data is not stolen, right? So I second is there is a no privacy breach happens, and there is a process in place that just in case, in spite of all of these, anything happens, I have a process and I have the application, I would say we call it latency in the landscape, which is able to take care of that. Yeah. And obviously, when I engage auditors, cybersecurity experts, the entire group of I would say the external expertise, they should have the ability to help me out so that I don't face the similar kind of situations. So I'll stop here and then move to the next part. Digital transformation. An oft repeated word. I was just talking to one of my friends the other day. He said that if I ask you digital transformation, you will probably take 2 hours to talk about it. I said, you know what? I can tell you in 2 bullets as well, digital transformation. What are the 2 bullets? I would say, firstly, how how technology has disrupted a particular old industry, the way it works. A certain industry, could be travel industry, could be banking, could be hoteling, could be retail, was working in a certain way for centuries, years, decades. Suddenly a disruptor comes, a startup, typically a startup comes, some from somewhere, some part of the world, and just changes the dimension of it. I'll give an example and you'll get it. It's Uber. Hailing a taxi on the road or standing in a line was very common across the world, whether it's a railway station, airport, or wherever it is. Uber came and changed it, everything, right? Now you can do it through phone. You can see where it is. You can prepay, postpay, do whatever it is. That's disruption of an industry. Airbnb, right? People wanted to, getting a hotel, booking a hotel was done for decades, right? Airbnb comes and just changes the dimension completely. And I can go on and on. Amazon Marketplace for clothing, right? So retail, right? So it's on and on. Banking and finance. Any finance was the were the first to be impacted by digitally transforming. Way back in 15 years back, I did my first. More than that, 16 years back, I did my first digital transformation. Bank was, of all banks, it was Lloyd's Bank, a 200-year-old bank. When in my days as a consultant in IBM, they realized that there is a young set of people coming up who are extremely savvy, digitally savvy, can use their handphone, have an expectation, doesn't want to stand in a teller for hours together to withdraw money, or to they don't want to call up a call center to ask and go through an IVR to know their bank balance. They want to do something else. Customer expectation, right? So that's one bullet number one, that disrupting the industry is digital transformation. Then comes disrupting an old company, right, which used to do business in a traditional brick and mortar way. Okay. And I'll give an example: Walmart, right? Walmart, online, you go in there. Yeah, and it is there in our case also, by the way, in retail, in uh, our country as well, right? So it's an old company, right? It used to have it still has big racks where things are there. They're all things are kept in the rack, right? Uh, Today, now then, Walmart digitally transformed itself because it wanted to give customers a unique experience. What kind of experience? They didn't want customer to walk all the aisles and all the corridors and look up and down to see where they find the thing. What you do is find the Walmart near you, search for a particular thing, which tells you which rack, which aisle, that particular thing, how many are available, right? So it transformed itself, right? And in the process, what it has done, it has built its data, put it to cloud, used AI, used GPS, had a fantastic front end, created an app. So all the technology which is available today, it used it, brought it in the handset, in the palm top of the user, and told how much of it is, how much of a certain product is available in which shelf of which rack, in which aisle, and what is the cost, how many are still available, where is it, and Google Maps tells you the direction to reach that Walmart as well. So essentially, what it did, it gave a unique customer experience by using technologies. That's the second bullet. The first one was disrupting an industry. Second, what it did is it just took its own existing business model, added on top of it a digitally useful business model, a new business model, which gave a unique customer experience. Correct. That's another example. So these are the two bullets. That's digital transformation. I gave one example of retail. You can find out, you can think. I mean, I can tell you a bank, right? Today, a bank. Excuse me, I switched my jobs in my new company. The the bank where they put the salaries, ICICI Bank. I mean, I wasn't quite an user of ICICI Bank. It's not that I had anything against them or anything. I just didn't use. I used to use HSBC, HDFC, etc. But now that I have to use ICICI, what did I do? I just went there once. Even if I had not gone, it would have worked, right? It's nearby, it worked. After that, I just downloaded the app. That's it. That's it, right? Talk about doing anything in the from in within that bank. My app will do it. Correct. So this is the definition of digital transformation. Why a company have to do it? Very simple. If you don't, if any company doesn't, well, it is meant to give a customer experience. Your customer doesn't get the experience which he or she is expecting. There was a time we used to talk about young users. Today, it's every user. Anybody who can use a phone can will ask for a different kind of customer experience. And if they ask for it, if they don't get it, what will they do? They'll look for alternatives, right? Buyers always have choices. So you know that. I mean, one cannot, uh, you know, run a company or be a part of a corporate manufacturing or services and say that, you know what, I would rather not do digital transformation. You lose customers. That's my definition, and that's one of the reason I have actually joined a sunshine industry, solar industry, from being a consultant for 25 years, right? So let's see what happens now. What happens, what has that got to do in the context of cybersecurity? Think of it, I talked about it. uh, Something like data of a bank goes into a cloud. Someone like me access it through my phone, and I can access it anywhere, right? Because I'm on 4G everywhere, right? 5G in some places. I think now it's almost 5G everywhere, right? And yeah, that's it, right? So the database there, the network, my device, not just that, at times I need some cash, right? Some liquidity in my wallet. I go to the ATM and take money as well. That's another device. That's not even my device, correct? And my card. So that's what, and I might have used my card somewhere. I might have bought something in a food app, Zomato, Swiggy, somewhere. I don't know, right? I might have used that card also somewhere. So imagine the kind of exposure me I have with my bank details, and the bank in turn has got it, right? So while the bank has digitally transformed itself to give me a unique customer experience, what has happened has made me and the itself vulnerable to penetration at any place within that landscape. And that's where cybersecurity becomes intrinsic as a company goes through the process of digital transformation. Great stuff has happened by the companies, right? That's why you will see that uh, over the years, excuse me, over the years, only the big companies, lots of app companies, startups. I talked about cloud, they came, but only the ones, only some survived, right? Some didn't. One of the biggest reason is they had not been able to answer those who didn't. One is their ability to scale, etc. Is they could answer the question regarding being secure, right? When I say, for example, when I move my say company's data to cloud, I'm just giving an example, to Google, I just don't ask them what's your you know cost to for my usage of your cloud or capacity and etc. I just ask one thing: explain it to me how it is secure. Explain it to me how it is secure. So they have to explain it to me how it's secure. Excuse me. Or for example, I take a corporate network, right? I buy it from one of the service providers, either Jio or Airtel or whatever it is. The first question I ask them, I do ask about speed. Again, today, cloud's capacity or network speed is taken for granted. It's in gigabits per second, or uh, terabits, zetabits, or petabytes of the capacity. That is taken for granted, the capacity. What is not taken for granted is their ability to keep it secure. Okay. That's a question someone like me will ask either a network security provider or a cloud service provider. I would also ask an application person, right? An application software provider. Now, you must have heard of SAP, you must have heard of Oracle, you must have heard of Salesforce. Again, these are all big companies who have, over the period, evolved their product in a phenomenal way, serving Fortune 1000 companies. over decades. Still, as they evolve to the next version, I say I decide to buy a certain product which SAP brings in. The question I ask is, how do you ensure that it remains secure in this landscape? So I ask them individually. That's not enough. At the end of the day, in a digitally transformed IT landscape, what do I have? I can have Google Cloud, I can have Amazon Cloud, I can have IBM's middleware, I can have SAP's ERP, I can have Geo's network, I can have a VSAT, I can be on, I can use Android's App Store. So imagine the complexity of each of these, and all of them are talking to each other. Each of them came and convinced me that uh, mine is secure, my technology is secure. Is that good enough for me to know that my moat, remember the moat? I'm inside a fort and my moat still impenetrable, or there are still vulnerabilities? Till very recently, I would say, yeah, till not very recently, till recently, we said just build a firewall, right? Okay, you have set up a site in Rajasthan, your headquarters is in Kolkata, build a firewall. You build a firewall, you build a firewall, and assume that what is there inside the firewall is secure. The answer is no. This assumption itself has hit many companies in that particular small place in the overall, and that has spread. So then what happened is, while the Googles of the world gave cloud and analytics, SAPs of the world gave ERP, IBMs of the world gave database, and so on and so forth, and someone gave network, uh, top guns who are experts in security came up with something called a zero trust platform. Zero trust. They said that trust nothing. Do not trust even one transaction in your millions of transactions happening in a day. So they came up with the architecture called zero trust security, which, very simplistically speaking, questions every transaction. Imagine a switchboard, a junction box at the middle. Everything goes through that junction box, inward or up, outward, or anything like that. That switchboard questions everything which goes through that. And of course, that is programmed, configured, what are the questions to ask, and doesn't switch on unless the answers are given convincingly. By default, it remains off. So rather than having a firewall here, there, everywhere, assuming that, you know what, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. You put something in the middle, like a zero trust security, which goes through, which everything goes through that, answers a certain set of questions, and switches on. Now, that is what there are. Leading companies like Palo Alto Networks or Zscaler who have come up with this innovation, which has helped a lot. So even if Google says, you know what, I am Google, you have come to my cloud, that is zero trust anyway. I've used zero trust technology. I said, boss, that's just the cloud. I have network, I have my ERP, I have this, I have CRM. So it comes. Now, over and above this, again, so you have built great technology components, cloud and network. You have done digital transformation. You've pulled the zero trust at the middle. Over and above this, again, what one has to do is make sure on a regular basis, at a proper frequency, you are actually doing a penetration testing, which is basically doing a crash testing. That's the difference between automotive industry and the IT industry. Automotive industry, the crash test is done before the car leaves the factory. You can't afford to do, one doesn't do after that. After that, you do the servicing, etc., overhauling. Here, testing has to be done, right? Because the people who are unethical, who are at the top, are equally intelligent and very informed. The people who are doing the testing are always and need to be one step ahead of them. Okay. So the people who are trying to hack are using AI to read your data, whatever it is. The people who are actually stopping them are also using AI, but they're doing it for the right purpose. They're making sure your network, your devices, your everything is actually secure. Hope I could explain the the expectation side of it, how it evolved from what I saw nearly 30 years back to where it has come. Hope I could explain digital transformation, how it disrupts the industry, how it brings a new set of business model over and above, and why, along with digital transformation, cybersecurity has to go hand in hand, and how it is being achieved. Now, with all of these, and in 2023, especially this year, we cannot conclude anything without talking about something called generative AI, right? So there, I would be very surprised if no one have heard about ChatGPT. GPT, as it stands, it's called generative pre-trained transformers. Generative pre-trained transformers. So the basic thing of AI of past, artificial intelligence of past, was bringing in a machine which could do conversation with people like me and you, and while doing the conversation, learn. If I can, bring in an analogy, it's like an absolutely small child growing up, a few months old, a 1 year old. The parents, grandparents start teaching the child, right? They start talking to the child so that the child is able to do conversation and in the process learn. This is a cat, this is a dog, etc. Pre-trained transformers, as the name goes, come trained to a large extent. They are trained in the back end with enormous amount of data, right? So that's why if you go today and prompt something, right, to GPT or GPT equivalent Gemini of Google or Llama of Meta, Bard of Google, they give an answer. How? You have not trained that. Comes trained. Okay. So that has actually what has now that's a very this is a very significant part of the industry. Yeah? It's almost like in 90s when after the graphical user interface came from DOS to Windows. I don't know if anyone recall that. It actually brought the usage to normal people, right, who are not programmers. For use of computer pre-Windows days, in 90s, mid 90s, one had to be a programmer, right? One had to be, for anybody, you one wasn't one could not use a computer if one was not a programmer, even if it's not he was a basic programmer, he or she was a basic programmer, right? That went away with GUI, right? Windows came, Excel came, calculator came, we could double click and just type and do it, right? It became a typewriter with its ability to compute at the back end. What GPT is doing, we're moving towards, is giving us the ability, and it's a matter of time. It has actually been announced by OpenAI. We will be able to create our own GPTs. So I can actually personalize, take a pre-trained transformer, train that myself, training a data. You don't have to be a data modeler or a data analyst or anything like that. You can train it with your own data and you can use it. You can personalize it. Fine. It will be so useful. It will be useful. Imagine this development in the AI world or the IT world is as fundamental as what happened in the Windows days. We are saying, people like me who has come from IBM or Google, we are saying it has democratized AI. I don't need an AI scientist anymore. I can do it for myself. Take the GPT, train it for myself, and do it. Now, you and me are good people. We are not going to do anything with it. Now, imagine the power it gives in the hand of unethical people, right? And you have seen deep fake. That is one of the usages of using a great technology. There is a dark web which is going on at the back, apart from the breaches which is happening, right? So I'm a huge fan of technology. I'm a professional in technology. This has been part of my life. I'll continue to do so. I'll probably, as it becomes, as GPT gets or AI gets democratized, I do promise that I'll use one for myself. I've started to do. But what I'll not stop doing, I'll continue to do is have the experts make sure that the environment and the landscape which I'm working has is not vulnerable, because that is something which is, it's getting exposed to, more and more exposure, more and more ability I know that there is a set of people who doesn't have the right intent. So I need to have the experts who will make sure that though I am untouched by the bad work of those people. So with that, I stop. Chirag and Sandeep, I hope I could cover the entire gamut, my personal journey and what I promised to do. I'll stop here. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Sabida. Uh, Wonderful session. I believe all the people who are present over here can put up their questions in the chat window. We have people who are watching you from YouTube, from our social media links, and these sessions will be there with us for a long time. We will also put it up on all social media, and I believe those who has missed out the session today can come back and watch this session, because the archive will hold it for many years. uh, Digital transformation, I think the biggest digital transformation which is going on in India is digital India. And I just heard a news. I still cannot verify the authenticity of the news, but one news channel just called me for an interview. Aadhaar enabled payment system has been stopped. If if that is the case, it's a big news. That is the effect of security in digital transformation. There can be no better example than this. Aadhaar enabled payment system was one of the best thing to happen in India, so that even people who has no access to internet can withdraw money without a bank, without an ATM, without an app. And that stopped just because of cybersecurity issues. So this digital transformation and information security will go hands in hand, and it will have a deep impact. Whatever Sabida has told us over the last 1 hour, uh, I believe you have to go through this session again and again to understand what exactly he has said, and understand the true meaning and put it in your work. Uh, I thank a lot to Sabida for giving us his time just before the Christmas. Today was a 24th of December. It's very difficult to get a speaker like him on this type of days. Uh, Thanks a lot, Sabida, for giving us time. The auditors who are sitting over there, if you have any question, please write in the chat window. Otherwise, I will request Chirag or Shubhenduda. I believe if you are present, you can log in through the admin link, and maybe one of you can just give the vote of thanks.
So there are a couple of questions which I have received.
Excellent. Yeah.
So
Please
with
go
your
ahead.
permission, I would like, yeah. So one of the questions is from Mr. Arup. He asked, should ethical hacking by real users be encouraged in today's era?
I can answer, but the expert who actually started the Institute of Ethical Hacking which is now renamed as anti-hacking, right? He will answer. Let me speak as a user, right? A super user, call it. I
Let us
would
have
say,
both your views, sirs,
okay,
one
lovely.
by one.
So, Sandeep, can I go ahead and then you can
Yes,
add?
please, please. We all
Yeah.
look forward to hear from you.
No. So, answer is no. It's a skill. It's a skill acquired uh, over a period of time, right? uh, it's an expertise, unless one actually learns that and has reached a certain level. I won't recommend anybody and everybody to do ethical hacking. If one needs to learn, absolutely, and if one has the a knack and ability to do it, why not? But till one learns, should not do. That's my point of view, Sandeep.
Yeah, it's a very good point that Sabida has mentioned. Now, if you are asking about ethical hacking by real users, there is a program called Bug Bounty. Now, Bug Bounty, I have seen a trend where people are trying to hack into websites, and if they find a problem, they immediately email that company that there is a problem. Please give us an acknowledgement, give us some bounty. And some of the popular companies like Microsoft, Google is actually encouraging it. The pros and cons is, if bug bounty is encouraged, the company has to take the risk, because if you are inviting hundreds and everybody and anybody to hack into your website or infrastructure, a semi-skilled person can actually bring down the infrastructure, can create a unknowingly, they can create a disruption into the system, and then it goes out of control of both the hacker and the person who is controlling the infrastructure, and they do not know how to recover. It's like Mahabharat. If you know, if you are using a brahmastra, then you must know how to take it back. If you are just releasing a brahmastra and don't know how to take it back, then it can have a very, very big damaging effect to the organization. Coming to the people who are trying to do bug bounty, trying to get bug bounty, many companies do not have any bug bounty policy. And if the company doesn't have that policy, trying to become an ethical hacker without their permission and just going into their infrastructure, trying to find a bug and reporting to them, can have a negative effect. The company can take a legal action against that person. So I have seen a lot of youngsters who are trying to scan different companies. I have one advice for them: please look into the bug bounty policy. If the company haven't said anything on that, then scanning their system without their permission is illegal. So I think that's more or less covers everything. From the CDO and CISO point of view, I think Sabyasachi has already mentioned that he is not comfortable. I believe 90% of the companies are not comfortable. Any other question, Chirag?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your views on this. So, one of the main problems that we face while going for an audit is that the management themselves are not that wary, and they are not that much concerned with the cybersecurity aspects unless it directly impacts on their bank account. Like you have mentioned about deep fakes and other tools and tricks used by scamsters or fraudsters, in which they may not use impact directly the financial information of a company, but they can cause other losses, such as reputational loss or some other degradation to the company or such their environment. So, what is your take to advise such people on how to make them aware and how to get them to actually be proactive in this line?
Sabida.
Look, it's the first thing is how much digitally mature the company is. If how much of digital adoption has happened? Are they doing online transactions? All of them, or what percentage? Are they still, doing pen and paper? If they're doing pen and paper, they're not digitally exposed. But I would say in today's world, there won't be a single company who will be doing pen and paper, right? I mean, I'll be very surprised, of a certain size and above. If that is the case, then there is a problem, because whatever happens anywhere will impact the finance anyway, right? What you see is happened in the finance is an effect. The cause is somewhere else. That's the finance side of it. Secondly, I don't know whether, I'm sure you guys have heard, and all of you, just the data privacy part of it. You know that government of India has come up with the Data Privacy Act like Europe. It's not just the reputation, the penalty which will come in the data breach or your privacy breach can make companies bankrupt, right? So if not for anything, just for the purpose of being compliant with this Data Privacy Act, it is absolutely, important that people are, scared of what might happen, I would say. So okay, so do give it an importance, because when it comes as a non-compliance, it will be worse than non-compliance in many other things, like like FERAs on income tax or so on and so forth. Could be even worse than that. It has happened in Europe. Companies have gone bankrupt. I'd
Right.
mention that piece.
Thank you,
Right.
sir.
Taking a cue from Sabida, whatever he has said, I already mentioned in first part of the session that arrange a dedicated session with the top management where we do not talk about this ordinary things like password and complexity, configuration, firewall. They do not want to get bored by all this discussion. They want to hear something out of the box. Every time I have gone to a company, I have taken sessions. In fact, I frequently take sessions in top level companies. I have a half an hour to 1 hour session where only we allow the leadership guys to come. And when I speak to them about how the leadership can get attacked, they really take notice of that. But if you are talking about firewall security, if you are talking about server security, that is not what leadership is directly bothered about. They leave it to the CISO or the IT head. But when I talk that how a person at the top of the at the top, like a MD or the maybe the maybe the family of the ND, these people can get targeted. I am telling you, it's a amazing effect that goes. And and being an ethical hacker, I show live demo. So when I show a lot of live demos, that how that you as an individual, as that heading the company, you can get compromised, your device can get compromised. I'm telling you, there's an amazing effect. These people immediately understand that security is not a IT problem. It's a business issue. The IT is a boardroom issue right now. And soon with IoT and smart home, smart city, it will from boardroom, it will go to the bedroom. So from boardroom to bedroom, it is everywhere. And once you show it the reality, then it does affect them that how important this is. I think
Thank you, sir.
somebody, yeah.
Thank
Somebody
you.
asked about the, I think uh, we had a question on CII benchmark. So this is the CIA benchmark. I think Shashwati has asked that where do I find the CIS benchmark? So I have given the CIS benchmark. This is the link. You can check this link and you will get all the 40, 50 CIS benchmarks free of cost from there. Right. So Chirag, maybe time to release us. We have a pre-Christmas celebrations. I'm sure Shobhoda also have pre-Christmas celebrations today. So yeah, we can conclude because we can getting a lot of I can see a lot of chats. Thanks to Sopoda for his wonderful session from a lot of participants. I can follow the chats. I believe Sopoda is also able to follow the chats in
I
his
am reading the comments. Yes, yeah, I can
right,
see one
right.
of my
So
old colleague also here, Dr. Tapas Bhattacharya.
right, right, right. Excellent. So I believe you will get a lot of chat
Looking
request
forward
one
to
to
that.
one. Now
Looking forward to
you
that.
are well known in the auditor circle. And Chirag, can we now have the vote of thanks, please?
Sure. I would like to thank Sandeep sir for organizing and co-hosting this event, and of course, our celebrity speaker Sabyasachi sir for sparing his valuable time and sharing his insights on the development of cybersecurity, digital transformation, AI, and its impact, and all of how it impacts the auditors and the business ecosystems today. And thank you to all the participants for coming today and on this festive occasion and giving coming and also encouraging us as well to host future sessions. And of course, to our chapter president, Subroto sir, I don't know if he can hear us or not, but thanks a lot to him for organizing the session as well. With that, I would like to close the session. If there's any further questions, participants can ask it, and we will answer it in the chat, or we can answer them one to one as well. I believe all of our numbers are available with them. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and wish you a happy new year ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much.